Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Apprentix as an apprentice. So the first thing that's going to happen when you log in is you're going to receive a greeting message that's going to show you any to-dos that you might have. So every week, you're going to get a to-do that pops up that says submit your timesheet. And every month, you're going to get a to-do that pops up which says to request an evaluation. Let me describe what those mean. A timesheet basically says, here are the hours I worked on every day. And for those hours, I allocate my time to these courses or to these competencies. Basically, if you worked an 8-hour day, you would say, I worked 2 hours by taking this course, and the other 6 hours I worked on this particular type of competency that I need to learn for this apprenticeship. So you're allocating your time. Basically, you're showing where you put your time, and your manager will receive that submission and they'll review it and they'll either modify it or they'll approve it. In your submission too, you need to provide some sort of an evidence or note just to verify that you actually did do this. And then in the evaluations are basically things that are not time-based, but competencies that you need to, learn, things that you need to learn, skills that you need to learn. And you're saying, hey, I've been working on this thing and I think I'm ready to either be put marked as in training or marked as proficient. There's really only three statuses here. There's for an evaluation, there's I'm not in training, in which case you don't need to request that. There's I'm in training, but I haven't yet gotten totally proficient, or I feel like I'm proficient now and I'd like to be evaluated for that. So you would submit a request for an evaluation, and your manager would receive that request, any evidence that you provide, and they would either, they'll review it and they'll either approve it as is or they'll modify it from there. So those are the two basic things. What I'm going to show you is how to navigate yourself through the Apprentix system just to see what resources are available for you. And the main thing here is that when you log in, whatever you need to do is going to be on your home screen. That's the biggest thing for you to know. If there's nothing there for you to do, you're going to see a screen that says, hooray, congratulations, whatever. You're all set. You don't have anything to do, in which case you don't need to do anything. Let's come over here in apprenticeship. The apprenticeship is going to show you all the information that you need about this particular apprenticeship. Who's your program sponsor, who's your complaints manager, what's the job description of the role that you're going after, what's the classroom plan, so some information about that classroom plan, what classes you need to be taking. If you click on it, you can get a little bit more information on there. The on the job plan, this will tell you all of the job functions and competencies. So, if you were doing this, you might click on one of these, for example, and see what hours are required of you. So you can see all that information. Wage schedule will tell you how much you're making, what's your starting wage, what you'll make when you complete your apprenticeship, and any wage increases along the way. And so you would know, okay, well, once I complete this course, I'm going to make $10 more an hour, for example. And so that's what you'd be aiming for, is to make sure that you achieve the competencies or take the courses that you need in order to continue to make progress and make more money. And then supportive services are any support services that your company or program sponsor provides that can be helpful for you outside of what's traditionally inside of your company. The people tab is just going to show you a couple different views or a few different views of who's in this apprenticeship. Not everybody in your company, not everybody across all apprenticeships, just this apprenticeship. Here you can see Adam is the admin program sponsor, you, Ann, are the apprentice. Cohort basically is set up by the employer or the program sponsor, saying if they start a bunch of apprentices together, it's like a starting class. They might call it cohort 1, or they might give it a fancy name, whatever, but you would see what cohorts are there and who's in them for this particular apprenticeship. And then you would see the list of people by their job title, in case that was helpful. So when you have a long list, it's helpful to have these other different views. If it's a short list, then you have everybody that you need in here. The My Progress area is really where you're going to live. So let's look at time tracking now. You can see I've got a few different time submissions that have been submitted, and I'm waiting for them as the apprentice. I'm waiting for them to be reviewed and approved. You obviously can't approve your own time. You won't be able to do that. But when it is approved, you'll see that it's been marked approved, just like this one here. You can go in and edit, something. You could say, oh, you know what? I said 1 hour, but it was actually 2 hours on that particular thing. and you can save it, and you can see it just updates that, and it'll update over on your supervisor's dashboard. But once it's been approved, you can't obviously edit it. As you can see, there's no edit capabilities because it's been approved. So if you were to submit a new time request, you would go like this. You'd say, okay, for last week, let's just say Monday. It is day by day, by the way. I'd spent, let's just say 4 hours on this particular course. You can write a note here, click any files to show like screenshot of course completion or anything like that. And you would just say, save changes there. And as you can see, then that 4 hours was submitted. And we might say, okay, also on Monday, I spent another 4 hours working on this particular competency. It was that one. I did this, here's some more information, and you would save that. Okay, so you can see they're all in here now. And those are going to show up on your manager's dashboard, and they've got to go review and approve it. So really easy for you to submit time. Let's take a look at how you submit evaluations. Evaluations are very similar, but they're request. So you would go in here and you say, okay, I would like to be evaluated on a particular competency. And, let's just pick this one here. Whoops. Looks like maybe there's not one in there. Let's go with this one. So I want to be evaluated on this competency. I feel like I'm ready. Whoops. Ready because whatever it is. You might upload a file. Say upload that file. It's going to be in there. And then I hit submit. Okay, and here you would see it pop up. And basically, you're just waiting for your supervisor to review whatever you provided, and they will either mark you not in training, they'll mark you in training, or they'll mark you proficient. And it's pretty simple. So what that tells them is if you're in training on something but not yet proficient, they need to keep giving you work and instruction and help to be able to get you proficient in that particular competency. Let's look at feedback now. Feedback is going to display if a manager or mentor gives you feedback. It's basically text. If somebody sends you feedback, it'll show up for you to read, and you would just come in here and read the feedback that's been given to you. Previous experience credit, PE credit, previous experience credit. This is going to be available for those companies that say, yeah, we will accept previous experience credit. So if you don't see that, that's because your company has chosen to not provide credit for previous experience for whatever reasons. And if you feel like you want to request it, then they would have to go and enable that feature. But basically, if they have enabled that, you can submit a request, and you could say, okay, I want to say this is for work experience, or is it coursework? Which one is it? Some information, you'd upload whatever, and then you would submit that particular request. And let's just do one for a second. Okay. And we would submit it. And once we've submitted it, what will happen is it will display here. Right, it displays, and you can always go in and edit it. But once it's been approved, same thing. If a manager approves it, then you won't be able to edit it anymore. And what they will need to do is they will basically, whatever you've been approved for, they'll go in and mark you as proficient or log hours for you and say you've done, the hours that are required for these particular courses. Whatever it is that you've been approved for, they're going to go in and give you that credit for that. And so your view will then update with that. Wage progression is basically showing you, what you're making. This is a little bit of a typo here. Obviously, that doesn't make any sense. But point is that you'll see what your wages are and when you would make more money. And so you'll be able to know, if I complete this thing, then I'll be able to make more money from there. The NFT certificate is going to be issued to you once you complete your apprenticeship. This is issued by Apprentix. So it's different than the certificate that you're going to receive from your company. Apprentix, we will actually issue you an NFT, which is basically an asset on the Ethereum blockchain that says, here's your transcript effectively. This actually was you who took this apprenticeship. You started it this day, you ended it this day. Here's the courses you took, here's the competencies you've achieved. It's full transparency into saying, like, it's actually you and you did achieve this. But even greater than that, you get this asset which there's a lot of different ways you can use NFTs. And if you want to Google that, go for it. But we'll also provide some help desk articles around how you could use your own NFT. But it's completely complimentary that comes to you from Apprentix. So that's there. And then the last thing is our help. So you can go to the help center if you ever have any questions, read the articles, submit tickets, whatever it is that you need to do. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, please do reach out. Thanks.